Most amazing top teners, I hope you are doing well today. I'm Rebecca Felgate, and today we're going to be doing some pretty key learning as we find out the top 10 most powerful countries in the world. It is of course difficult to know exactly what order to put these superpowers in, so for this list I've looked at military power as well as economic power, because there's no point in having a huge army if your country is struggling financially. For military power I've looked at army sizes and military resources, and for the economy I've looked at something called the gross domestic product, which represents the total dollar value of all goods and services produced in that country and is a very good indicator of how well that country is performing economically. I've also looked at the GDP per capita, which is a per person calculation of output, which is very useful when comparing countries of different sizes. Okay, so who got that power? Let's go. Coming in at number 10, we have a country powerful in one area but very weak in another. We have North Korea. So the North Korean army is one of the largest in the world. The country has 1.2 million active soldiers and a further 7.7 million in reserve. What does this mean? It means a very large percentage of adults of the population of 25 million are in the military. It is difficult to tell what equipment they have in their arsenal, but if their displays are anything to go by, they want the world to think that it's big. While North Korea's army size could make the country appear powerful, economically, North Korea is actually far from it. Having cut itself off from the rest of the world with its closed communism, its gross domestic product is just $12.3 billion US, with its GDP per capita just $583. Coming in at number 9, we have one of the most populated countries in the world pulling in some serious manpower, and that is India. India has a population of 1.25 billion, which is wow. They have an army size of 1.325 million and a reserve of 2.15 million. The country has over 2,000 aircraft, over 6,000 tanks, and a naval fleet of 200. India is a member of the UN, which further enhances its power. The GDP of India is mammoth compared to North Korea at $1.87 trillion, but the per capita is low at just $1,498 US. In at number 8, we have South Korea. South Korea has a population of 49 million with 625,000 active army members and 2,900,000 in reserve. They have 1,451 aircraft, almost 2,400 tanks, and a naval strength of 166. On the worldwide stage, South Korea is well supported from the West and is a member of the UN. Economically, South Korea is performing quite well with a GDP at 1.3 trillion and a per capita figure of around $26,000. Coming in at number 7, we have my home, the United Kingdom. While the United Kingdom has had some political turbulence in the past couple of years with the infamous Brexit, it remains a strong worldwide superpower and country of great influence. The UK has a population of 64 million with 150,000 active army personnel and 182,000 in reserve. The UK has 879 aircraft, 407 tanks, and a naval strength of 66. The UK is very strong on the worldwide stage despite its exit from the European Union. The UK is a member of NATO and the UN and enjoys, I quote, a special relationship with the United States. Economically, the UK performs very well with a GDP of 2.68 trillion and a per capita of 41,787. In at number 6, we have France. France has been hit hard in recent years from jihadi extremists, presumably targeting it because of their worldwide power. Sadly for the lowly extremists, they haven't done much to dent this power, with the country still a worldwide superpower. France has a population of 66.5 million and 205,000 army members, with a further 195,000 in reserve. The French have 1,282 aircraft, 423 tanks, and a naval fleet of 113. France is a key figure in the European Union and is a member of NATO and the UN. France has a GDP of 2.8 trillion and a per capita figure of $42,503 US. Moving on to number 5, we have Germany. Germany has a population of almost 61 million people with a relatively small army size of 180,000 people. There are a further 145,000 in reserve. Germany has reportedly 676 aircraft and 408 tanks with a naval strength of 81. While Germany's arsenal may seem small, Germany is a leading political figure in Europe, NATO, and and the UN. Economically, Germany is a major player with a GDP of 3.73 trillion and a GDP per capita of $46,286. Coming in at number 4, we have Russia. Russia has a population of 142 million people and an undeniably vast army of 766,000 with around 2.5 million in reserve. In terms of its arsenal, it has also gone very big with 3,547 aircraft, over 15,000 tanks, and a naval strength of 352. Now this is how Russia has chosen to spend its money, making it powerful as a military force. However, economically it is absolutely dwarfed by most of the powers on this list. It has a GDP of just 14.6 billion and a per capita of 23,190. Moving into number 3, we have Japan. Japan has a population of 127 million with 250,000 in the active armed forces and just 60,000 in reserve. The Japanese have 1,590 aircraft, 678 tanks, and a naval fleet of 131. Japan has a GDP of 4.73 trillion and a per capita of 38.8 thousand $, making it the 3rd biggest economy in the world. Coming in at number 2, we have China. China has a mammoth population of 1.3 billion people, making it one of the most populated countries in the world. Not only is it one of the most populous, it is also the most powerful in terms of military personnel. China has 2.3 million active army personnel and a further 2.3 million in reserve. The country has 2,942 aircraft, 9,150 tanks, and 673 naval tanks. Whilst China has a huge output with a GDP of 10 trillion, its people are poor. It has a per capita figure of 6,807. China's power is also increased by being a key member of the UN. Of course, there is one superpower that manages to balance military power, economic power, and livability. So that's our number 1, the United States of America. The US has a vast population of 318 million with an army of 1.4 million and a reserve of 1.1 million. The country has 13,444 aircraft, 8,848 tanks, and a naval strength of 473. Its GDP is a whopping 18 trillion with a GDP per capita of $53,750. These figures make the American economy the most powerful in the world. The United States is also a very key player in NATO and the UN and is well supported in the West. America! Of course, this list is a slight approximation, but what you need to know is that these 10 countries are pretty much setting the current global tone for military and economic power. I hope you found this list educational and enjoyable. Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. Also, let me know if your country was on this list or if it wasn't. Learning. I'm Rebecca Felgate, this has been Most Amazing Top 10. If you liked this video, if you found it interesting, then please do show us by giving it a good thumbs up, sharing it with a friend who will find it equally as interesting, and of course staying subscribed to our fabulous channel for more lists just like this one. And I will see you next time.